Oh, they're here. Who's ready? All right, the stream should be live on our YouTube. Hey, how are you? Who's ready? All right, the stream should be live. Hey, is that Anna? Anna, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, hold up. I think the press person just came to make sure the stream was working. And now we're just waiting a little bit. The stream should be back up. Okay. Slugs, can you go on to the Golden Deer Instagram and can you put that in the Instagram link real quick? Thank you. I don't know why they keep taking it down. In Slugs, can you also shoot the link to the group chat? Yeah. Thank you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa. Is it working? I feel like did they yank it again? I can still see it. Okay. Slugs, if it doesn't work and YouTube takes it down, consider using the Golden Deer IG, the IG Live, and filming the screen if it doesn't look terrible.
Okay.
But use your best judgment, okay?
Wait, but if it's not working, wouldn't I also not be able to see it?
Yeah, I'm actually cooked. You're right. You're right, man.
Innovative.
Anyway, the stream's the stream. Now let's just have a great episode.
Yeah.
Just fucking record. Whoa, that's recording. And listen, if the stream butts out, just don't even tell me, all right?
Okay.
Don't even want to know.
I have a good feeling about this one.
I do too, man. Anyway, we're still going to run an episode with the mayor. We'll be okay. You know I got a Latin 19. Brennan, what was that cow yesterday? What is it? That's your guy? They text me saying they're running a few minutes late. Hey, if you're in the stream right now and we're still rolling, I hope to God it's still rolling. YouTube's been taking us down this morning. I am Conor Holway. This is Golden Deer Productions, man. We started GDP in, I want to say late 2016 when I filmed this wedding. I had to make a flyer. And so I went into my college's computer lab and I made a flyer because I was like, I want to book this wedding gig. So I booked the wedding gig because I sent them a flyer with Golden Deer Productions on it. I ended up filming the wedding and it was the most terrible video of all time. And since then, we've deviated a lot, quite obviously, but we have never stopped. And now we're here, man. And it's a really sweet moment. And I hope we can come through for everybody. And we're just starting. Tell me the stream's still on, guys. Just tell me. Mayor Walsh.
What's up, Conor?
Mayor Walsh, man. How are you?
Buddy, how are you? Sorry, I was on the trying to get off the phone.
Well, you're one of the most busy guys of all time, man. So you get a pass.
Oh, God.
Hey,
are you a Somerville guy, Conor?
I'm not a Somerville guy.
Where you from?
I'm from Lincoln and Cambridge, Mass. My parents
Oh,
were
yeah.
split.
Oh, okay, good for you.
Hey, man, I just want to say thank you for all you've been doing for us.
I appreciate it, bud. Thank you for having me on today.
And I know you're on a tight schedule. Your press team's like is militant.
Oh, they're good. Anna's good. She's right here. She's on top of me too, making sure I don't mess up.
Anna, Audrey, and TJ, thank you for making this happen.
They're great people. Great people right there.
Hey, how many interviews have you done in the past like 8 weeks? You just tired of it?
God, so many interviews. You know, it's funny. I'm on like CNN, MSNBC a lot, which is kind of funny. Like I'm a guy I grew up in Dorchester, and I grew up like a lot of people, and realizing like I'm on national TV so much. It's kind of it's crazy.
Have you had any moments? Well, first, before we move on, I have my producers on the phone. I got Sarah Slugs and Brendan. Guys, say what's up to the mayor.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, Mayor Walsh, how you doing?
Hey, Sarah, Brendan.
Have you had moments the past like 6-7 weeks? Like, what has your day-to-day been like? Are you just
Monday through Friday, every day really, but Monday through Friday, I usually get up, 6-ish, read the papers real quick, see what's in them, get ready, go to work. I have an 8 o'clock call every morning here in City Hall. That's 7 days a week.
with your cabinet?
It's a call about what happened in the previous 24 hours and what our plan for the next 24 hours is as far as finding problem solutions, executing the problem. It's really made us more efficient as a government, where we have we have 24 hours to find a solution to an issue. The issues are fast, and every day they're different. And then at 9:30, we do a call with the hospitals and talk about what their capacity is in the course of the day. What we're seeing as far as level of capacity in COVID ICU beds, COVID beds in the hospital, and then how they're treating other people. 10 o'clock, I do a city council call every day in the city with the city council to inform them on what we're doing, because we want to try and keep a good flow of information, transparency going down. And then
hold on real quick. You are in City Hall. That's the fortress.
Monday through Friday, I'm in City Hall, probably roughly most of the day. I have not done any public events in the last 8 weeks. I have not gone to anything. I've been invited to like the hospital, the convention center hospital. I just feel if I'm asking people to stay home and asking people to practice social distancing, I feel it's really important that I do the same. So I've not gone to any public events.
Do you miss it? You miss the big crowds, man?
Oh my God, I miss people. I miss, I'm a big hugger and shaker of hands, and just like I miss all that. And I love being out in the neighborhoods, and I really do miss it. And it's strange because I'm around, in here we have about 15 people that are in the mayor's office. We keep it very tight. And then I spend time with my family, and I see my mother. I go to the house and she comes out to the door, and that's it. And, yeah, you miss that. God, yeah.
You miss the crowds at the press conferences, like the ego trip. Everyone's watching you, man.
No, that's a little different. The press conferences, for me, it's about trying to get information out to people and knowledge. I mean, I prefer not to have to do press conferences. The difference between this press conference and say other ones is that this press conference is all about COVID. There's no other questions. And generally, when you do a press conference, or they call it a press scrum, when I go to an event, like I could get asked anything about any issue and asked like, what's my feeling on this? What's my feeling on that? In this case, it's been pretty much just simply coronavirus.
So how do you designate tasks now and delegate now for non-COVID? For like, let's say there's like some sort of crime spike in the city, or there's some sort of MBTA breakdown or development.
Just in general, I mean, when we made a decision to close basically everything down and people working from home, we've asked people that work for the city to continue to do your job. So there's a lot of need still in the city of Boston. That doesn't mean that people looking for housing, or people looking for employment, or people looking for a tree to be cut, or a park to be cleaned, that none of that stopped. So it's gotten less as a request, but we continue to operate City Hall remotely as it always has, because that's really important that we do that. Water and sewer pipes bursts. There's fires, obviously, and issues with the fire department. EMT still responds to calls, and our police department is still dealing with violence in the street. So it's a little different, because when we have conversations about it in the past, we kind of collectively gather in a room and we talk about what the strategy moving forward is. Now it's all on Zoom call. and it's harder to respond in some cases, particularly, we've seen a little uptick here in some shootings in Boston the last, say, 2 weeks. And
That's usually a spring, summertime thing though anyway, right?
yeah, it is, but we've seen a little more this year. The last couple of years have been kind of quiet. So what we do is we pull all the community organizers in a room, people activists in a room, and we talk about a plan moving forward. And now we have to do it remotely, and it's a little complicated because it's not typical. It's not typical. It just seems a little different. So we're adjusting to what the normal is for today. I mean, hopefully we go back to the way it was, where we can get in a room again and talk about stuff.
Hey, I can't give you any celebrity treatment here. Can you just give a quick synopsis of who you are and what you do for anyone listening?
Yeah, Marty Walsh, Mayor of the City of Boston. I grew up in Dorchester, lifelong Dorchester resident. My parents come from Ireland, so they're immigrants. My dad died 10 years ago, so I grew up in an immigrant household. I went to school at Newman Prep High School in the Back Bay. I went to Boston College, the evening college. I got my degree. I was about 40-something years old when I got my degree at college. I quit school, and a whole bunch of things happened in my life in the past. And
Where did you finish up at? BC?
BC. And I got elected to the State House in 1997. I worked with those of you that are Cambridge folks. I worked with Denise Provost. I worked with Pat Jalen as state representatives back in the day when they were reps, and then Pat went over to the Senate, and so I served 16 years in the House of Representatives, and then I ran for mayor in 2013.
Well, besides the first mayoral race, what was your toughest race, do you think?
Oh, my first race for rep. That was the toughest race.
Why were you wicked young?
I was young. I was like, I was running, and people were like, what are you running for? You can't win. And, I was about a year and a half sober at the time, and I always wanted to run. It was just, and like, I had no elected official support. I just had a bunch of people from the neighborhood help me out, and it was awesome. It was like the rush.
Door to door?
Incredible. Say again?
Was it just door to door?
Oh, door to door every day. And I had a young guy with me, and like, I'd want to quit knocking doors in the course of the day. He'd make me knock one more street, and thank God he did. I won by like 240 votes, something like that in the final there. But that was an incredible race. And like, I kind of knew politics, and I was not young. I was 29 years old, but I thought I knew everything. I learned a lot. It was a really amazing opportunity experience.
How much has your campaign strategy changed over the years now that the internet's here? Because that first race was late 90s, right?
Yeah, it's funny, when I'm in the race, I tend to go back to the old school campaigning. But so example, when I ran for rep, there was no Twitter. When I ran for mayor,
hey, your Twitter's immaculate, by the way, man.
Yeah, well, it took a long time to get there. Thank you. I'd like to take credit for it, but there's a lot of other people. So
I know, I see the ones you signed though, MJW.
So when I was running for mayor, obviously we got on Twitter. I think I started with like 800 followers, and then in that race for mayor, I was watching my opponents, all their Twitter accounts, to see how many Twitter followers they had. John Conley had the most, and as we get to the final, like, we surpassed John. I think we had 20,000 Twitter followers. So in that race, it did have an impact. But let me fast forward 4 years later. Now we have on the city side, I think we have 200, almost 300,000 followers. But on the campaign side, Facebook, we had over 100,000 followers. So the campaign's a little different. It's a lot of social media. It's a lot of Facebook. It's a lot of directed ads. It's kind of targeting. You would say younger people, but there's a lot of everyone's on Facebook now. So when you think about that,
everyone in your demographic, Mayor. My demographic, not so much.
No, so I mean, I meant to say that the older generation now. When I say older, the people in the 70s and 80s on Facebook. Now we're going back. Now we're looking at. We're doing a lot more younger social media, trying to hit everyone, Instagram, things like that.
Have you guys started a TikTok account yet?
No, we don't have a TikTok yet. I'm looking at Anna to see if we have a TikTok
Yeah.
yet. We talked about it. We have to. I'll have one though. Trust me. After this call right here, we're gonna start one up.
Hey, so real quick, I cut you off. So after 10:30, you have that city council call. Then what's next? You like put on a hazmat suit, your mask, you take some Instagram
Random
flicks.
calls all day. It's every day is different. I mean, like, this has been the strangest thing, and I know people can identify with this, but every single day is the same, but they're very different. And for me, it's like, because the challenge is, in early days, we're shutting businesses down, and we're trying to keep people safe. And as we're progressing now, 8 weeks in, we still have to practice social distancing, physical distancing, and all that stuff to stop the spread of the virus. but we also now transitioning into what does it look like to open up again, and how do you do it? And you know, people get antsy. I get that. I get all that. You know, as we talk about kind of reopening society, you know, the federal government, the CDC is telling us that we're going to see this big surge in cases and deaths in June. So how do you, because I think once you reopen, you can't shut down again, in my opinion. It'll be detrimental. So we have to figure out how do you do that safely.
How do you personally mitigate the pressures on you to reopen? Because I'm sure people are breathing down your neck. Like, hey, man, I'm making no money. You got to open the city back up. I got to get back to work. How do you just say, like, hey, relax? Like, you got to be patient for a little bit.
I think it's a day at a time, and it's the messaging, and it's also pushing the federal government, the state government, the city government to make sure that there's some safety nets in place for people.
But I mean, you personally, like, do you feel that like someone breathing down your neck right now to get this done?
No, it's there, but I live my life a day at a time. So I only focus on today. I try not to think about tomorrow. So that mindset of a day at a time helps me get through those pressure moments.
Our fearless leader. Let's go. Hey, how have you been keeping the haircut crispy?
There's a lot of gel in this hair right now.
You haven't been cutting it?
If you see this, I get a little buzz in the back. Laurie buzzing me in the back, but I can't do much. It's like there's a lot of gel pushing this sucker down.
Okay, so I think could you simplify kind of for my demographic what reopening would kind of look like? I know you probably get a million of these questions. I would just be remiss if I didn't ask it.
So I think when I think about reopening, first and foremost, I think having information and data is key. When you think about who's impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, people who are losing their life, most of the folks that have passed away are in the demographic of 60 plus, poor health moving forward. So when you think about reopening, the demographic from 18 to 50, good health, generally safe. You could get the coronavirus. Your risk of passing is very low. So when I think about how do we reopen society, is there a way for us to open it that we kind of pay attention and keep some precautions in there for older folks, 60 plus, to make sure that they're safe? And how do we get younger folks not only to they potentially, when you go back to work, but still continue to protect yourself and not take the virus. If you come in contact with the virus, take it into your house. So we're working through all those different opportunities now and looking at it. And when you think about this, just think about the scale. Okay, we focus generally on restaurants, and we focus generally on like flower salons and golf and things like that. But when you think about going back to society, you know, how do restaurants work? How do offices work? How do venues work? Like the Garden for the Celtics and the Bruins, and then the Fenway for the Red Sox, and eventually September Patriots, and like the concerts. How does a concert work? How does like the House of Blues work? So all of those things we have to think through as we think about how we open these safely, allow people to go out, go back to their life and enjoy things. Like, I mean, I miss music, I miss sports, I miss going out, I miss all that stuff like everyone else does. I just miss the gathering of people.
I was going to say, first day reopen, right? You raise your hand, you say, Boston is open. Where's the first place you're going?
Oh God, there's a lot of firsts I want to go to. I'm hoping the Bruins and Celtics come back so we can finish the season off and watch some sports.
Yeah, I know. I wonder, I feel, what are they doing for all the TD Garden workers right now? Are they on furlough?
Some are on furlough, some are on furlough, some were laid off. Some of the folks that got interesting, there's a staff that I think they furloughed most of their employees that are full-time employees, and most of their part-time employees, they basically, they're not working there anymore. The Bruins did put some money aside for and I'm not sure where it is now. They got some controversy on it. They put some money aside for the part-time workers. A lot of people who are furloughed or laid off I think everyone should be eligible for collecting unemployment, both statewide and in the initial from the federal government. So people are you know, they're supplementing, or they're keeping their lost income available. The people I'm concerned about are like undocumented immigrants. What happens to those folks? They can't apply for unemployment. They can't apply for assistance. Like that whole group of people, you know, it's just out there, and that's going to cause a lot of havoc and poverty.
I've also been thinking a lot about the people on Meth Mile. Excuse me to call it Meth Mile. I know it's inappropriate, but like what's been going with them?
I'm in recovery, and I identify with those folks. I mean, it's a tough place to be when you're stuck in the middle of addiction, substance use disorder. We're out there counseling people.
Well, I mean, Corona related. Has there been a spike in the area?
No, well, we've seen some of it, but a lot, again, it's about testing. Let me use the homeless population. They're kind of two separate. So we've tested 1,800 homeless people in Boston for coronavirus, and 33% of them come back positive for coronavirus. We set up
You
hospitals.
said 33%.
33% have tested positive.
Wow.
What's interesting is, though, and I'm trying to find out this reason, only 2 people have passed that are homeless with coronavirus. So we're seeing people in nursing homes die at a higher rate. We're not seeing it on the street. And I can't say if this is just a Boston thing or a nationwide thing. So I'm trying to figure out, like, their body right now, and I'm not a doctor, and don't quote me on this, but there's something about their immune system that is protecting them from passing away, because they're not in the best of health, and they've been living on the street for a long time. So we're seeing some folks I thought we'd see potentially more people pass away, and we've only seen 2 so far, thank God. And then,
How do you track that? Isn't that probably tough to
we
track?
track it through Healthcare for the Homeless. We track it through our facility, Pine Street Inn, St. Francis House, all the organizations, Rosie's Place, all the organizations. We're working one big collaborative. And let me just go back real quick to Mass and Menlena. We're working, we've set up areas for folks to be able to come get tested, and we're trying to get information out to people as well, to let them know the impact of coronavirus, and to make sure that they understand how to protect themselves as well.
So I think another question that me and my producers wanted to hit on was the college economy, and how is that going to shift Boston economy as a whole if some of these kids don't come back to school and they just have to remote learn? Because these are the kids that are flooding the bars and buying all the food and booze and partying.
Yeah, it's gonna have. I mean, it's gonna have big impacts, not just there, but they're also our workforce. A lot of kids work, part time when they're going to college here from other places. They rent apartments in the city. They give to our economy, so it's going to have a big impact. I'm working with the college presidents now on what a reopening looks like in college, and it's too early to really get into a deep conversation here. But there's a lot of questions around testing students. How are they going to deal with on-campus housing? A lot of colleges have like foreign exchange programs where kids go away for semesters and learn abroad. That, for all intents and purposes, is not going to happen in September. So that's thousands of additional kids that aren't going to be going overseas to learn. So they're going to be here in Boston, which is going to add to the housing crunch and other things. So, I mean, I think that there is a big segment. We get about 200,000 people a year that come into Boston that go to college here. That's good. That potentially have it's already had a huge impact. I mean, for all intents and purposes, college got closed down in March. So it's already had a big impact on our economy.
Hey, B and Slugs, I want to make sure you guys have a chance to ask your questions. You want to start, Brendan?
Yeah, sure. So I know there's been questions about antibody testing and the efficacy of it, and also how long immunity lasts. Can you just clarify your position on antibodies and how that factors into your plan?
Yeah, what we're doing right now is, as we shift over to data and looking at what we need to see to give us a good, concise picture of what's going on in Boston or Cambridge or Somerville or Massachusetts, you have to do the 2 tests. You have to do the antibody test to see if you have had the coronavirus or if you're immune to the coronavirus, and then you have to do the coronavirus test to get a real snapshot on where we're moving forward. The issue is access to testing. We have opened up 19 testing sites in Boston, 5 in the hospitals and 14 in health centers. We're looking at a mobile van now. We did a pilot program last week with Mass General Hospital with 1,000 people in Boston to do antibody and coronavirus testing to try and get a snapshot of where we are in society, what percentage of the population might have come in contact with the coronavirus.
I know. I saw Michelle Wu. She was negative for the virus, but positive for the antibodies, right?
Yeah. Yes. So Michelle's part of the study. So that's good information to have. Now we're going to be able to see like how many people have what their situation is, and it'll give us a little snapshot. But we have to scale that up in a bigger way.
Well, to simplify that for anybody listening or tuning in, what that means is Michelle Wu, who's a city councilor, she at some point had the virus because she has the antibodies, but she's not currently sick from the virus, right?
Yeah, no, she might not have necessarily had the virus. She could have had the virus, or she just could be have the immunity for it. So it's kind of that's the one thing in this test that you can't tell if you're immune to it or if you had it. So there's a I guess a 50-50 chance either way. It doesn't matter. All that we know is that Michelle goes in the category of somebody in the city that could safely go back to work potentially, and if depending on the percentage of that, you know, how many people we have there.
Now, how does your relationship work with the governor in this whole thing? Like, do you guys have to be on the same page about everything to move stuff forward? I think a lot of people don't really understand how it works. Like, you're the one running the city, but he's the one running the state.
Well, I think, you know, I think it's important for us to be on the same page. I mean, there have been times where we might not have been on the same page, but I think it's really important for people in the public not to see their governors and mayors fighting publicly. You look at some of these other states around.
I agree, man.
I mean, you go to Georgia. The Mayor Bottoms of Atlanta, who's a friend, is not on the same page as her governor is opening up the state. You know, that makes it complicated. It sends very mixed messages to people. You have the president, you know, depending on the day, saying whatever comes to his mind. That's real confusing for people. And I think that people want consistency right now. They want consistency.
You're right.
You know, they don't want us fighting. The people want us to, okay, what's the message coming from the state? What's the message coming from cities and towns? And if we're generally on the same page, then that's a consistent message and people can say, okay, we can understand. But if I'm saying one thing, Governor Baker saying something different, it's like, well, who do we listen to? People don't, there's enough stress in people's lives right now than to deal with people not being on the same page.
Well, when this all started, I mean, obviously you're somewhat war tested now through it, but how were you making decisions? Because a lot of this was you were acting on a whim, correct? Because it had never been done before.
It was a whim, but getting information from scientists and doctors and people that had a lot of information on this. You know, my first decisions and still today, first and foremost, my responsibility is to keep people of the city of Boston safe and keep them as safe as I can make them safe and not spreading the virus. That's my goal right now. When I think about the next step moving forward, it's about how do we open the economy so we can continue to be able to make investments in the programs that are important to me. And we, you know, we've done a lot around housing, we've done a lot around substance abuse, we've done a lot around economic development, we've done a lot around disparities, we've done a lot around inequality and racism and things like that. We want to continue that work down the road as we think about transitioning. What I'll do with this case is what did I learn during coronavirus and what did I learn about best practices, not necessarily about the virus, but about operating a city. And how can I take some of those efficiencies that I think we've done pretty well here in the city and incorporate them into society after and not society, but incorporate them into the way we do our business here in the city when we go back to being normal again.
Yeah. What specifically?
Decisions. When I talk about the 24-hour decision, you know, we're on a call every day. So if an issue comes up, I'll give you an example. So today we're on the call and we're getting a lot of calls in here around mental health. You know, I've been saying to people, if you feel stressed and you're concerned, you know, call the city of Boston. We can hook you up with a counselor to talk about if your people's in a bad place in their mind. We were heard today, we're getting a lot of calls and we're starting to be over capacity as far as what we can handle. And when I said by tomorrow's call, I want you to talk to me about, did we bring on other third-party counselors to help people dealing with mental health and substance abuse?
What, the call center is over capacity? They're getting too many calls?
Well, there's not, when we get the call, we transfer it over to a counselor and, you know, we're getting a lot of calls and they're getting overburdened. So we want to make sure we increase the capacity, because what I said today on the phone is if somebody has a suicidal thought or if somebody has a situation that they're just having a really hard time dealing with, we can't say we're going to call you back next Tuesday. You know, we need to make sure that they get the attention right away.
You just be like, hold that thought for a sec.
Yeah, just hold on to it.
We'll get back to you in about 6 days. All right, man.
Cutting a tree down, you know, filling a pothole, we might take a few days, but dealing with somebody's mental health and it's same with domestic violence. If a woman calls or a person calls for domestic violence, we can't say we'll get back to you. Those issues need to be dealt with immediately. There's a lot of stress out there, and I know there's probably people listening today that are in that place. And even myself, like if you sit back too much and you start thinking, you go to a dark place really fast. And for me, what I try to do is talk to people and don't let myself get to that dark place. Because you get to that dark place, it can be lonely and it's not a good place to be.
So this is just a quick segue. So as as a recovering addict, I think a lot of people, when people were like shocked when they heard liquor stores were essential. Like, was that weird for you making that decision, keeping them open through this whole thing?
No, I mean, I think that there's certain things, there's certain aspects of life that we have to keep norms going. I mean, obviously, liquor sales I heard are up 50%, and there's
Oh,
probably
killing it. Totally killing
there's
it.
a lot of people that are going to be joining me in the halls of Alcoholics Anonymous someday. And I'm not encouraging people to drink, but I think there are certain things that like even takeout in restaurants and things like that, and allowing restaurants to sell beer and wine with dinner. There has to be some norms that people have to have, and I think that there are certain things that we have to move forward. I mean, you can't shut everything down. I mean, even like we're doing a lot more dinners at home, but we do the takeout. We do uh, try to get business obviously, because it's important, because they're employing people and they have to put food on their table. So trying to keep some of this open is really important.
Hey, Slugs, you want to get a question off for the mayor, man?
Yeah, I was wondering, since there recently in New York was a 2,500 person funeral, and de Blasio had to send in like a riot squad to break it up. Boston has a lot of religiously diverse communities, so if something like that were to happen in Boston, how would you deal with it?
Great
Let's
question.
go, Slugs. That's a fire question.
We haven't had a situation like that, but we're asking people. I mean, we're asking people to, there was also a case in Somerville, I think of a church operating last week. I would ask the leadership of the church to really take into consideration the congregation, and be careful with that. I mean, this virus is extremely contagious, and you can put a lot of people at risk. Particularly older people generally go to funerals and things like that. I'd ask people to be very careful. I think Mayor de Blasio addressed it afterwards. I think he might have thought it was the wrong way. We haven't seen anything like that here in Boston yet. I'm hoping we don't. But I think you have to be very careful. It is about keeping people safe.
Would you be the bad guy in that situation if you had to?
No, I wouldn't want to be. I'd want to ask people to be safe and keep your distance, social distancing. I mean, I've known, unfortunately, now many people have lost loved ones during this virus. And generally, the funeral homes are only allowing 10 people in the funeral home. And when they go to the graveside, it's only the immediate family, and the immediate family, not like cousins and uncles and aunts. So it's a difficult situation. It's horrible to have you think about that.
How did Eastie and Chelsea get so bad? She like turned out, it was out of nowhere, just
Yeah,
spiked.
I think what happened there is housing crunch and intergenerational families living together. So you have the husband and wife and the father and mother. They have the grandparents and the family and the kids. And what happens is that they don't have a place to isolate. So if you're living in a 2-room house and there's 3 or 4 people living in it, and you get the coronavirus, I mean, they want you to isolate in your own room. I mean, you don't have that ability to isolate your own room when you only have limited amounts of room in your house. So I think that's one of the things that added to the confusion, and also that there a lot of immigrants, language barriers, that didn't quite understand about the coronavirus in the very beginning, and I think a lot of folks, in some cases undocumented, who are afraid to step up and say something because of their status. And what we've done in the city of Boston is we've done multiple languages. We've done a couple lit drops in the city in multiple languages, 7 or 8 languages. We do a robocall once a week.
You speak Gaelic, right?
A little bit.
How do you say you're a great guy in Gaelic?
Tatu Gama.
All right, that was too fast. Tatu Dama.
That means you're good.
Cool. All right, Tatu Dama. Mayor Walsh. I love it. So can you just, what are you looking forward to? Like, let's just get past all the morbidity for a sec. Is like anything good happening in your life right now, man?
Yeah, people are awesome. I mean, people are incredible. Watching people just, just, uh, you know, being nice to each other. That's all great stuff. I think.
That's boring.
No, it is boring, but it's good. I think I'm grateful for the people that work at our food pantries every day and give food. We've given out 750,000 meals since this started, so people are still working at our food distribution sites. Our nurses and doctors are keeping people safe, which I'm grateful for that as a mayor. I'm grateful for. I mean, one thing I think.
I mean, Marty though. Marty, like,
Marty, what am I grateful
not the
for?
mayor.
I'm grateful for.
No, not grateful. What are you like looking forward to? What are you
Oh,
pumped?
looking forward to?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be in Foxborough in the first game of the Patriots. I haven't season ticket holder. I want to be at the football game. I wanted to maybe, there's some concerts coming to Fenway. I think they were coming. I wouldn't mind going to see some of the concerts at Fenway. I'm looking
Country Fest.
country. No, I haven't been there. I've never been there, but I know that there's a couple surprises I don't want to ruin on here that were coming to Fenway this year. I think that were going to be great.
Sweet.
Going just walking around and seeing people. I miss that. Maybe in an outdoor restaurant or at a restaurant somewhere in the city. I miss that. I miss going to. We have these street festivals that happen in the city. I miss those. This year is the 50th.
Will the Greenway be open this year?
It's open, but you got to keep social distancing.
Oh, that's gonna be weird.
Listen, all you guys and ladies on this call, do me a favor, please. Just remember the social distancing. I know a lot of people don't think this is real. This is dead real. And my concern is that if you get the coronavirus, you bring it home. I have a mother that's 77, and she's not in the best of health. And I haven't had a chance to give her a hug or a kiss in 2 months. And what the last thing I want to do is be a carrier of coronavirus, not realize I have it, and pass it on to her. And the situation is really bad. So just do me a favor on this stuff. The way we battle this thing back, this is something that, we'll be talking about for the rest of our lives. In 100 years from now, somebody will read the history books about this generation living through the coronavirus.
So just general timeline wise, I know you can't really give us like an actual timeline, but when would you say things might start easing back into kind of normal?
It's hard to say. I think over the summer potential we'll have a little bit of that. I think it's going to be. I think by the time we're back to where we were in February in America, I would say it's probably going to be a year.
At least you're honest, man.
Before we're back to the way we were. We're just out doing things. You see a random person, shake your hand, how you doing, what's going on. I think we're a year before we get to that point.
Sweet. Hey, I know you got to run, so we got 2 bits to end the show.
Yeah.
The first bit. 1, did you have fun? You have a good time?
It was great.
Hey, tell your cabinet, I've harassed them now 39 times to set this one up. I'm a good guy, guys. I promise. I'm persistent. So the first bit is called GDP sales mode. We're going to give you the floor for about 45 seconds to pitch whatever you're currently selling. Obviously, you're a politician. You got to probably pitch social distancing or something like that. We'll do that first, and then we'll do the ending bit afterwards, okay?
Oh, God. All right.
So you got 45 seconds. I'm going to give you a 3-second countdown, and then you're just ready to rip it, okay?
All right.
3, 2, 1, sales mode.
When I was 21 years old, I worked in the building trades. I worked in construction. I made a lot of money. I bought new cars. I bought new clothes. I didn't save a penny in my life. As I got older, I realized when I wanted to buy a house at the age of 25, I couldn't because I didn't have anything to buy a house with. When I eventually bought my house at 29 years old, I had a little bit of money, but my father had money. He gave me he gave me a down payment, helped me buy my first house. My pitch to you is make sure as you go through your life, make sure you put some money away, because there's going to be a time when you need that money in your bank to be able to do something you want to do when you get older.
That was not what I was expecting whatsoever, but hey, we'll take it, man. Okay, this is how we start and end the episodes. You say, hi, your name, and this is my golden hour. Directly after, no break, hi, your name, and that was my golden hour.
Oh,
Does that
God.
make sense?
I'll try right now.
Let's do it.
Hi, my name is Marty Walsh, and this is my golden hour.
Well, can you say Mayor Marty Walsh? Make
right.
it seem like more legit.
All right. Hi, this is Mayor Martin Joseph Walsh, and this is my golden hour.
And then?
This is Mayor Marty Walsh. Martin Joseph Walsh. Let me do one more time. Hi, this is Mayor Martin Joseph Walsh, and that was my golden hour, I hope.
Well executed, man. You got it done. Hey, thank you so much. We had a blast, and I want to get some T-shirts out. I'll make sure I hand sanitize my hands when I pack them, but I want to get you guys some T-shirts and some bandanas.
Yeah, make sure you do. I need a bandana. I haven't had one in about 35 years.
Well, you got a face covering, right?
I got a face cover, but the bandana on the head, you're talking about, right? Oh, you're talking.
No, I'm talking about face cover.
Yeah,
we're marketing, man.
Get it for me, man. I'll wear it at a press conference.
Hey, I had a blast. Thank you so much.
All right, bud. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.